Welcome to Maple Leaf America, the first of 3 editions from the Sunshine State. And what a great show we have for you this week. We'll take you to the East Coast Hockey League All-Star Game and visit with all 16 Ontario-born participants. We'll meet a Hall of Famer from Sudbury, and we'll learn about one of America's most famous inventors. It's all ahead on this Florida edition of Maple Leaf America. Welcome back to Maple Leaf America. You will definitely want to stay with us. We have a lengthy visit with Mr. Al Arbour. But first, we are in Fort Myers, Florida for the 2003 East Coast Hockey League All-Star Game. Let's go inside. Arguably, the ECHL features the 3rd highest caliber hockey in the world. And of the 42 players representing the league's creme de la creme, 16 of them were born in Ontario. 10 played for the Northern Conference, 6 for the Southern.
Obviously, it's an honor to be able to come to an All-Star game in any league, and to be a rookie and come here is going to be a fantastic experience for myself.
McNamara attended training camp with the Pittsburgh Penguins and Wilkes-Barre of the American League. He combines good size with scoring ability around the net. All-Star teammate Brad Rooney can score from anywhere. At this season's All-Star break, he had already matched his point total from his entire rookie campaign.
It's definitely a great honor to be here, and to be here with some of the best players in the league, young guys, established guys. It's going to be a great weekend.
Kevin Colley will probably spend the rest of the regular season in the American League following his 2nd straight ECHL All-Star bid. He leads first place Atlantic City in points and PIMS.
I like Wendell Clark. He always came to play. I thought he was an all-around good player. He scored, he can hit, fight. So I thought he was probably one of the better all-around players in the league.
Most of the other Ontarians chose Wayne Gretzky as their hockey hero growing up, including Southern Conference D-man Jim Baxter, the league's leading scorer among defensemen.
I didn't love any certain team, but I always cheered. When it came to playoff time, you always cheered for the Leafs. And you always hated Montreal, just the way you grew up. And still to this day, still cheer for the Leafs in playoffs.
He's a highly skilled defenseman, sees the ice well, good shot, just really, really offensive.
Mississippi and Atlantic City each had 3 All-Star representatives. The host Florida Everblades did as well.
It's probably the best building in the league, as far as I've seen anyway. Fans come out and support us. They're loud. They love to see good physical, quick brand of hockey, and it's been really great.
Johnston is 2nd in the league in rookie scoring. He hopes his bloodlines make up for his small 5'8" stature. His 2 uncles, John and Fred Barrett, played briefly in the NHL. Like Johnston, Jamie Harrington grew up in a town whose fans generally have split allegiances.
Cornwall is a bilingual town, and growing up, you're either a Toronto Maple Leafs fan or a Montreal Canadiens fan, and it's pretty split right down the center. But in my household, Hockey Night in Canada came on, we were always watching the Leafs game, and my grandfather's a big Toronto fan, and my father's as well. So just one of those things we've taken down the line.
He's always been kind of a thorn in my side when we've played against him. So I think he's a player to watch, and he's definitely going to make an impact, I think, in the All-Star game this week.
Harrington says he has no superstitions. The same can be said for his All-Star goalie teammate Mike Smith. No weird habits for this backstop, just an uncanny ability to stop the puck.
It's exciting just to be here. It's just a thrill just to be around these guys and be around this type of atmosphere. There's great players, and you can't expect anything but just a high offensive game, so I'm just looking forward to it.
Smith became the 6th ECHL goalie ever to score a goal in his first ever start. Up front, Andrew Iannaro had 10 times that many goals at the break. A former 20-goal-a-season player in Kingston.
The moment that stands out is Borashevsky's goal in overtime against Detroit to knock them out of the playoffs the year they were the first seed. That's the biggest Leafs memory I have.
Iannaro's All-Star line mate Zenon Konopka is one of 2 players in the game representing the Wheeling Nailers, coached by former Leafs bench boss John Brophy.
Coach against Jacques Demers and the Detroit Red Wings, and grew up loving the Leafs. Gary Leeman, Ed Olchuk, all those guys, and it was a great experience growing up around Toronto.
He loves to grind it out, a tough old school kid. He's he'll do anything to win the game. Very intense guy and pretty funny guy off the ice. Kind of a mess, kind of a slob. You know, he's out there a bit. And he's a good kid though, and he means well. And he's come from a winning tradition in Ottawa with Kilroy there, and he's a hard-working, tough-nosed player.
Nice helmet. Oh, that's right. Cross the red line, you're gonna get a stick in the face. Hey, Narrow. Hey, go up there on that side. I'll win it back for the shot. Sticks in the white.
Gets the pass back in the slot, steps down low, tipped in, they score, Renette.
All right, boys. All right, Chief. Play, boys. Great play, boys. Great play. Play, boys. Good job, eh? Nice move. Call it that away. That away, Renette. Yep.
Gotta run him. Come on, man.
How was ever in?
It's tough to pick a first line in an All-Star game, but Tyler Renette was on it for the North. Why not? This Leafs fan led the ECHL in goal scoring.
8, 9 years old, and went to Maple Leaf Gardens for the first time to see the Leafs play Washington. And you know, it was something else. Just a little guy buying the little mini stick and playing in the hotel room all night.
Of these 16 Ontarians, 10 considered themselves big Leafs fans growing up, including the Maple Leafs' 4th-round pick from 1999, defenseman John Zion.
My favorite Leafs memory was the first time I walked into Maple Leaf Gardens, just because the building had such a, you know, something about it so special and gave me a pretty good feeling.
He's a great offensive defenseman, one of the best in the league. In the OHL, he's one of the best in the East Coast League. He's a real fast player that can make a lot happen, and, you know, can pick up the puck and go end-to-end with it. And I think his biggest asset is probably his mind. He's pretty smart on the ice and sees the ice very well.
Konopka and Zion were teammates on an Ottawa Memorial Cup winner. Ryan O'Keefe was their enemy in the O. The stay-at-home defenseman stands 6'3" and weighs 225 pounds.
If someone's going wide on me, I'm not going to let them go wide. So if I have to take someone out, I take someone out. You know, just do my job out there, play safe, and try not to cheat. You know, just do what I do best in my game and bring it out here, and, you know, hopefully help everyone out.
O'Keefe tried his best to keep scoring opportunities from reaching All-Star netminder Rob Zepp, the Southern Conference starter and host.
Try to talk to my guys and you know, playing as much D as possible. I think that's all I can do is just hope that you know, they'll come back. But you know, everybody expects it to be a shootout, so you know, we just kind of have to, you know, take it and like it for a period or so.
He is dedicated, he works hard, and he's I don't know, one of the best, you know, best goalies I've seen in this league, and hopefully he gets a shot at the next level. But you know, position-wise, angles, and just all around, you know, he's in great shape. Just pretty much everything to do with being a good goaltender, he's got it.
Hockey in Dixie for an Ontarioan can be quite an adjustment, even for the simplest routines. Mike Glumac plays in PD, South Carolina, where he combines a point-a-game effort with a hearty appetite.
Food's a little different, I guess. They like their barbecue down there and the old grits. I don't know if I'll agree with that much. A little bit like eating air, but I don't know. They seem to like it, so.
Glumac grew up loving the Blackhawks, one of the 6 Ontario boys who didn't favor the Leafs. No surprise for Brad Williamson, who grew up in the province's frozen west.
I was quite excited when LA knocked them off that year in the playoffs. Because most of the people from Thunder Bay are all big Leafs fans, so it was, you know, hey, everybody's going for the Leafs, and, you know, I was like the only Kings fan out of my buddies.
Williamson mixes scoring and toughness nicely, with 25 points and 65 PIMs at the break. Another smart defenseman who can move the puck is rookie Dustin Wood, who has already spent some time with an excellent Bridgeport team in the AHL.
I don't let my stick blade touch the ice. After I take my stick, I don't let it touch the ice. I mean, don't let it touch the ground until I tell it to come on the ice.
The deep Northern Conference definitely didn't need any superstitions during the game against their Dixie counterparts. 8-2 was the final in favor of the Yanks, led by coaches Mike Haviland of Atlantic City and Claude Noel of Toledo.
Take him, Goose! You got him, Dustin! Nice, Dustin. Go! Come on, Mac! Hold him up. Here we go. On the breakaway. McNamara Coming in all alone. McNamara shot and a score. That's the one, that's the one, that's the one, boys. Good job here. Good job, boys, eh? Stay focused.
Just cheat. You see them, Dave?
Yeah, they're just trying to fly the zone, boys, eh? Defense got to be smart here. Wide guy. Good job, Mike, good job.
Great night of hockey here in Fort Myers, joined by the big fella, president of the East Coast Hockey League, Brian McKenna. Wonderful night.
It sure is. This is our annual showcase, obviously an opportunity to bring the best young players in the league, showcase them under one roof to a lot of scouts, a great audience here in Florida, and we're proud to be in such a great venue to be able to show off our league.
You had governors' meetings while you were here, some serious issues confronting the league. You hear about NHL cost control. You guys going through similar things. I guess insurance is a big issue.
Insurance is a big issue. Obviously, the entire industry has gone through a difficult time. Premiums are rising. It's one of the cost issues that we face. Although in general, I think over the past couple of years, our teams have done a really good job in terms of controlling costs. The focus from here on out, I think, is going to be on increasing revenues, making sure that we sell tickets, get people back into the buildings, and when we do that, entertain them while we have them there.
You're going to the mandatory visor rule next year, and how much of that plays into the insurance issue and keeping guys healthy and not having major injuries?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's a safety issue. There have been several major injuries this year, not necessarily in our league, but in hockey in general, related to eye injuries. And I think from that point of view, we felt it was time to move forward and put the half shields on our players. We couldn't think of a compelling reason not to do it. And I feel in 10 years it's going to be one of those situations where people will look back and say, like helmets 10 years ago, you know, the guys were crazy to play without them.
Brian, thank you very much. Congratulations on a great night.
Thank you very much. My pleasure to be here.
We'll be back here in Florida with more Maple Leaf America in just a moment. But first, it's time for our funny hockey fan photo. Welcome to the funny hockey fan photo. This week, no fans, just Pat Hickey from the 70s. Look at that hair. It is gorgeous. Very much the Leaf Garrett, Peter Frampton look, and he actually skated around looking like this. Yep. A lot of gross misconducts, you know, pulling on the deal there. Dreamy, dreamy, luxurious hair.
Hi, welcome. My name is Karen, and this is my son, Michael. We're here in wonderful Fort Myers, Florida. My all-time Maple Leaf from all time is Ron Ellis, and Michael's is Alex McGillney. Before I go, I'd like to say hello to my great-grandmother, who's 98 years of age, in Aurora, Ontario. Bye.
Welcome back to Maple Leaf America on the banks of the Caloosahatchee River here in Fort Myers, and I am walking on the porch of Thomas Edison's house. Life magazine called him the man of the millennium. He was unbelievable. His property is unbelievable, and we're going to show it to you right now. Much of what we take for granted in this advanced electronic world began with Thomas Edison. Among other things, he invented the light bulb, motion pictures, and the phonograph.
This is the United States Marine Corps Band. This conducted by John Philip Sousa, playing a number called the Soldier's March.
Those alkaline batteries you stuff into TV clickers, portable CD players, and toys, you can thank Edison for those, too.
It was after 10 years and 10,000 experiments of trying to achieve that battery. Nothing was happening for him. His family, his employees, his friends urged him to stop. Use your valuable time to work on something that will produce something. He said, no, now we know 10,000 ways this does not work. I call that progress. It was after 50,000 experiments that he did achieve that battery, ultimately made him more money than anything else.
And talk about a trendsetter, Edison was one of the first snowbirds to head south for the winter. He scoped out his winter home in Fort Myers while on a fishing trip with a couple other rich dudes.
They were here 24 hours, and then they decided to buy it. He was very impulsive. He did a lot of his work impulsively. But actually, they bought it the next day, 14 acres, 400 feet of riverfront. They paid $2,750.
Property values would go up again in 1916 when Henry Ford moved in next door. Ford had actually worked for the Edison Illuminating Company, and when he met the boss back in 1893, he showed Edison his plans for a quadricycle.
Mr. Edison was a father figure to Mr. Ford. He actually worshipped him. In fact, he sent him fan mail before they really became friends, asking for a picture so he could constantly gaze upon the countenance of the greatest living American.
Edison lived well. He built a pool for his wife. He planted about 500 different species of trees and flowers. He tried to conserve natural resources, all while diligently working on new projects in his lab.
He said he could get more sleep in 15 minutes than any of us could get in 8 hours, so he took frequent 15-minute naps. That was his bedding, his pillow, his quilt. Can you see his slippers at the foot of the cot?
Big shoes for anyone to fill, ever. Up next, Hall of Famer Al Arbour, as Maple Leaf America continues.
Hi everybody, how you doing? My name's Adam Key from Georgetown, Ontario. I'm here from Fort Myers, Florida. My all-time favorite Leaf is number 93, Doug Gilmour. And I'd just like to send a shout out to everybody back home in Georgetown. Go Leafs, go.
Welcome back to MLA. About 80 miles up the Gulf of Mexico from Fort Myers, you'll come across Sarasota, St. Armand's Circle, and Longboat Key, the home to this week's Maple Leafs alum. A Hall of Famer who has won 4 cups as a player, 4 cups as a coach. It's Al Arbour. Nouveau hockey fans remember Al Arbour as the coach of the 4-time Stanley Cup winning New York Islanders. But there's much more to this man's hockey history, including a 16-year NHL playing career, which began in Detroit in 1953.
Great players like Gordie Howe, I started and played with him. I saw him, Ted Lindsay, great, one of the greatest competitors of all times. And the Rocket, there's Jean Beliveau, Bobby Hull and Stan Mikita are great players. I played with these guys, and Frank Mahovlich and Davey Keon in Toronto and Johnny Bauer. I mean, I was very fortunate from team to team. I played with a lot of these great players.
Arbour should be considered one of the steadiest all-time stay-at-home defensemen, especially considering his longevity while overcoming obstacles.
Contact lenses were just starting at that time, and I had the big ones that I'd put them on, and I'd take them out after the second period because I couldn't see anything. My eyes were so irritated. And I recall that one day that I took them off for a while. I wasn't wearing them. I couldn't stand them anymore. So Jack is saying, "Radar, come over here." And so I get over there, and he says, "Let me see your eyes." And I show him my eyes and all this. He says, I can't even see those contacts. I said, "You can't see them." And that's great, Jack. I didn't even have them on. That's where I got the nickname Radar, because they say, well, I didn't know where the hell I was going. I was playing on radar.
Some say to be a good coach, one needs to be coachable. Arbour proved that early in his career.
Bob Golden was more my type of defenseman, a stay-at-home type of defenseman, and block shots, and I was fortunate with him when I first broke in with the Red Wings. Goldie was there, and he worked with me on blocking shots and helping with some of the defensive things, and he wasn't a great skater, and he said, speed, if you play a player correctly, the speed won't beat you, because you just work the angles on him, and he's not going to beat you.
Arbour's coaching career began under the tutelage of none other than Scotty Bowman, who handed Arbour the reins to the St. Louis Blues.
Came over, he says, "I'm going scouting for a week or so, and then you take over the team." He just drops it in my lap like that. I wasn't prepared with beans, and I think I coached my first game in St. Louis, and we came back to a tie, pull a goalie out, come back and tied the game, and then we go to Chicago, and then he was going to meet us out in the coast in San Francisco. He did meet us there, and that's how I really started my coaching career.
The coaching opportunity came during his final season as a player, a career that helped earn 4 Stanley Cups with 3 different teams.
I was very fortunate. I don't know how much I had to do to winning those cups, not very much, because I was kind of a fringe type of hockey player. But I was very fortunate. I started off with the Red Wings, which had a great team, and the Blackhawks, who won in Chicago. Then I go to Toronto, we win the Stanley Cup there, so it seemed to follow me around for a while. And in St. Louis, we were right there. We didn't win it, but we were in the Stanley Cup Finals 3 times in a row.
Of course, Arbour matched his playing efforts with 4 coaching cups while working with GM Bill Torrey and the Islanders, a team that won 19 consecutive playoff series. Maybe more amazing, they held Wayne Gretzky pointless during one 4-game sweep.
I'm very proud of each and every one of those players, and I don't see them that often, but when I do see them, it's something very special, and there's a place right here for all of those players that for that team. It was a very special team. They were very professional about everything they did, and maybe they didn't socialize, together all the time. But when they come to the rink, they were for one, and it was for the team all the time.
Picking a favorite player is almost impossible for Arbour, and probably inappropriate. But which Islander name pops to his mind first? A stay-at-home defenseman.
Kenny Moore was a great defenseman. He never got the acclaim that he should get, and Dennis was always the big guy in our hockey club, but Kenny Moore was a great defenseman, and Silent Sam, I called him Moses because we got him from the Olympic team. He won there, and he played the first game for us, and that's when I nicknamed him Moses, and we won the Stanley Cup. And he really was Moses because he was just a great defenseman and a great player.
The Islanders were loaded with great draft picks, including one who scored 50 goals in each of his first 9 NHL seasons.
I'd swear sometimes from the bench watching, there was a pass to him, and you'd swear the puck was gone before it even reached him. And he had, it was all in one motion. The puck was gone. Somebody passed the puck, and it was gone before it seemed to even get there. It was in the net. He never really picked the spot. He just fired. And he knew what he was doing. He would pick the top corner. If they had to go in sideways, it would go in sideways. And it didn't matter if he was off balance, on balance, in midair. He knew where that thing was going. But he never really picked that. And you know where Boss had a weakness? Open nets. I don't think he could ever put the puck in the open net.
Fondest memories for this Hockey Hall of Famer? Look to the early days.
I recall the first time that you step on that ice at the Maple Leaf Gardens. You're looking for the gondola where Frosty Youth was sitting and the fans, and it's just that you get that the goosebumps all over your body. You just can't believe that you're there, and you've always wanted to play in the National Hockey League, and be playing right there in Maple Leaf Garden is something that still to this day I'll never forget. And the same thing at the Forum.
He says he wasn't as tough as anyone, as talented as anyone, and this and that. But Arbour has the silver to prove actions speak louder than humble words. Just like that, we've crossed the state to Fort Lauderdale, where next week we bring you another Florida edition of Maple Leaf America. This time from the NHL All-Star Game. We'll see you then.